welcome to Peace Now. Today's episode is all about the Earth Church, the place that we live and that we honor when we respect and sustain our wonderful environment. So let's dive in and let's take a tour with two of our good friends who joined us throughout the pandemic, one an artist, Isabel Chapman, and Jim Blackburn, who is an environmental attorney and responsible for the poetry that goes along with these works of art, mainly focused on our wonderful treasures of the Earth Church. Well, it might be great to focus on peace, people, and prosperity, but we'd have none of these without our beautiful planet. And today, I'd like to talk a little bit about the planet and about two very, very special people who throughout the entire pandemic have brought works of art and poetry about the mysteries and wonders of the earth to a set of friends and a growing group of colleagues that have come to their Peace Church to look and to hear what they have to say about nature's wonders. Jim Blackburn is an environmental attorney at Rice University, but he's so much more. I could spend most of our time talking about his accolades, but let's just give you one example, and it's illustrated here with the picture of the whooping cranes that Isabel has drawn for us. Jim, although modest about it, is probably the one human that has been responsible for saving the whooping cranes when it was an endangered species. His legal work is responsible for making sure that these majestic creatures would not leave the face of the planet. And so Jim is also very, very active in wetland issues, and it's where I met him when I was working with the America's Wetland Foundation to make sure that the wonderful and rich ecosystems of our planet were not undone by climate change and attendant sea level rise, which was moving salt water, and still is, quite frankly, into the coastal reaches of our planet. We have a lot of work to do. We need to recast and rethink the manner in which all peoples care for, tend to, and sustain the natural resources which give us all else. So every day since the pandemic began to be the major issue that it has become worldwide, Jim and Isabel have posted beautiful art, works of art done by Isabel, and poetry and passages written by Jim. Now, Jim's a birder, and as a birder, a lot of the early works that Isabel provided to us with his poetry were works that contained pictures of birds. And Jim would give us all a little bit of a synopsis about the bird and then go into his poetry that gave the birds unique personality and gave us something to think about as we were sitting at home pondering what would come post-pandemic. Goober, my little friend down here, loves the frog, of course. And like the frog, birds, skunks, and other furry inhabitants and feathered inhabitants of our coastal areas, Jim brought us every day knowledge, expanded understanding of the relationship of our environment to our human condition and to the success of keeping the world a place that was balanced and in order. And of course, COVID came along, and I think it was an exclamation point on man's undoing of the natural order of things. And so in writing about much of this, we kept away from the politics, and by reading Jim's writings about how the natural order needed to be preserved for all of mankind. Look how beautiful these are. They were all titled, and Isabel would take time to do her art on some different surfaces so that it would give sort of a three-dimensional character to her works of art. And Jim, in his poetry again, would talk about, let's say in the right picture, the swarms of birds that would move south across the Texas landscapes and ecosystems during parts of the year that were wonderful to imagine. He would bring us into the cathedral that he called the earth, and we would sit with him in the earth church and wonder at these natural uh, creatures that have made our lives so rich. Jim always had poetry to go along with what he saw in the paintings, like this one. This vigil sought a way to open a door, and over the months it became something more. It's a reach across the chasm that came with the virus, a new way of thinking, a search for the soul of us. Wow, we love the words, we love the art, and we love the expression that came from having this every day to look forward to in with COVID-19. I want to thank Jim and Isabel for raising the Earth Church and allowing us all to sit in the pew and become part of this natural assembly. If you would like more and to understand Jim's thinking about these wonderful earth-given treasures, you can go to jimblackburninfo.com/virus-vigil, as you see at the bottom of this screen. From all of us, thanks for reminding us why this planet is so special and why we are just one of the many creatures who need to keep the planet whole. Till next time, peace now.